What is happening, guys? Edgy Outdoors coming to you with a knife comparison video, a versus video, if you will. We have in one corner, we have the Spyderco Para3 lightweight, and in the other corner, we have the Benchmade Bugout. This is the blue one. We also have that OD green black blade one. Is that green? Does that look green to you? Anyway.
Army green.
Anyway, we got a little video here. Summer is here and the lightweight knives are going to be around us. We're not wearing jeans and heavy coats with belts and stuff like that. And for me, who likes to wear golf shorts and gym shorts, having the lightweights around is really what happens in the summertime. It's all that I'm gonna really push to wear. These two knives seem to be ones that I think are gonna draw a lot of comparisons moving forward, one being Benchmade, the other being Spyderco. So let's get into this a little bit here so we can start talking about the differences. Not really looking for a winner here. I just want to show those of you who are considering both or one of them, it'll kind of give you an idea of where it sits compared to the other one. So first thing we're going to look at in this is going to be blade steel, because that's certainly something that a lot of us knife snobs like to talk about, and then it's something that the steel snobs like to really, or steel nerds like to get deep into. So on the Bugout, we've got S30V, which is a quality steel, built for knives. On the Para3, we have BD1N. Now, I can't really pick a winner on this, only because I don't know a lot about BD1N. I hear a lot of the steel guys out there that are into steels making videos, they love BD1N. They certainly an upgrade over BD1, which I've used with my Manix 2, for example. I don't know a ton about the BD1N though. Supposedly it's an upgrade from the BD1. So can't really pick a winner here, but it's important that you know what the two steels are. S30V holds an edge reasonably well. It's reasonably simple to sharpen. It's not difficult. BD1 is certainly easy to sharpen, gets razor sharp. So they're both good steels overall. When it comes to things like locks and pocket clips, they're both deep carry pocket clips. They both sit very low in your pocket. We have great fidget factor with both of them. We've got the compression lock with the Spyderco, and we've got the axis lock with the Benchmade. So these guys are fidgetable, both of them. Now let's start talking about size, because when you hold each of these in your hand, they're both lightweight. Neither of them are huge knives, but I will tell you the Bugout certainly feels like a smaller knife. It doesn't feel like it's quite as big as the Para3. Now, let's kind of look at whether or not this is true. When we lay this down and we compare blade length, if you look at this closely, you can see the Bugout actually has a blade that's 3.24 inches long, and the Para3 is right at 3 inches. So you have an extra 1/4 of an inch of blade on the Bugout. Now, some would consider that an advantage, some would consider that a disadvantage. On the Spyderco forum, one gentleman was talking about the fact that he can't carry the Bugout where he lives because it's greater than 3 inches. From that perspective, the Bugout would lose, and somebody would choose the Para3. So Para3 at 3 inches, over 3 inches, that could be the deciding factor for some of you guys that maybe live in Los Angeles or something like that, where 3-inch knife is the maximum. So we'll talk more about size as we go on, but I did think it was interesting that when you're holding these two knives, the Bugout feels smaller, but it actually has a larger blade, larger cutting area. Okay, so let's start talking about how these things carry, and that's going to start with weight. So we're going to bring in our little scale here, turn it on, and we're going to weigh. We'll start with the Bugout. Bugout weighs we'll say 1.87, 1.9 ounces. The Para3 weighs 2.4, 2.43, somewhere in there, ounces. So from a lightweight perspective, ironically, the Bugout fits, and it feeling like a smaller knife kind of, that makes sense. From an overall width perspective, if we look at the width of these scales, assuming we focus in okay, you'll see that the Bugout is much narrower than the Para3 as well. we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.4 versus 0.45 inches. So it's quite a bit, you know, thinner for the Bugout. Plus it's contoured, so it feels even thinner than what it actually is on the Bugout. It's a little more contoured than the flat scales of the Para3. So that's one. The other, it's a much more obvious smaller carry or smaller ride, is going to be in the, you know, front to back of this when it's folded up and closed and hanging in your pocket. This one thing that has always been what has kind of held me back on the Para3 G10s, that and kind of not being very ergonomic, I didn't think, because it was so square. Although I like the Paramilitary too. But anyway, you can see there's a substantial difference in what this is going to look like when you're carrying it in your pocket. You've got a good, I don't know, how much are we looking at there? Maybe a good 1/2 inch or more that this is wider than. So, you know, that's pretty substantial. I think this is 1.16 inches wide and this is 1.6. So we're almost a 1/2 inch difference in pocket carry. So when you start to add this up, all things being equal on pocket clip and actual length, the Bugout actually is a much better carry in your pocket than the Para3. So that would be, so steel and carry in pocket would be kind of the first two things that we look at. And that's going to be, you know, when you look at this being so light and so small, I'm going to find myself, I guarantee you, picking up one of the Bugouts versus picking up the Spyderco. Kills me to say that. I love Spyderco. My son sitting over next to me, he loves Spyderco, says I like the Spyderco better. And I love both of these knives, but I certainly feel that the Bugout is going to get carried more just because of that. Now, what I will say is, let's look at just overall build of these knives. So, one thing you'll notice when you look at the Bugout is there's a certain amount of flexibility in the Bugout. I'm a light user, it doesn't bother me that much, which is why I carry this a lot. But the Bugout, you know, certainly has a little bit of flex. I'm not sure if you can see the flex that happens in those scales. And I'm not putting that much pressure on it, right? That just happens. Paramilitary 2 just feels a little beefier, feels a little bit sturdier in hand versus the, you know, versus the Bugout. I don't get that same level of flex when I do this. I definitely don't feel the same level of flex when I try to flex the blade. Part of that probably has to do with, you know, the compression lock that actually does go down the scale. Also, I think the scales are probably a little bit thicker than they are on the Bugout, which certainly helps. But overall, you know, the Para3 tends to have a build that, I'm not going to say it's better quality, but it seems to be a sturdier build than the Bugout. Not dramatic, but definitely a better build. So overall, when we start looking at, you know, just to put this into a size comparison, we have the Para3, we have the Bugout. We'll put in here my son's Paramilitary 2 just to kind of put the size of where these guys fit together. Makes a little more sense. Maybe you can see it better like this. So anyway, this is the kind of the size comparison of the three. So overall winner, I think it really depends on who you are and what's important to you. I will say, you know, if I had, you know, if I had the Para3, I don't know that I would need the Bugout. It kind of hits all the buttons. It's kind of a sturdy, you know, summer carry. If I had the Bugout, I could see myself still getting the Para3. So I'm not saying that makes it a winner or that there's anything like that. That just tends to be, you know, my feeling on this. You know, really in the end, you know, you're going to do what's best. And so that really brings us to the final point and why I feel the way I feel about how awesome the Para3 is, even though it has a little bit different, you know, maybe it's not quite as light or same steel as the Bugout, you're looking at a $90 knife versus a $120, $130 knife, depending on which one you get, where you get it, right? I mean, you're looking at, you know, a $20 to $40 difference in price to have the Spyderco at a much better price and still have what feels like a sturdier knife than the Bugout. Bugout does carry nice. It is a nice carrying knife, but the Para3 really has that, you know, I think power factor that the Bugout doesn't seem to feel like it has, even though it may perform more than I'll ever need. This certainly feels sturdier. So there you have it, guys. I think both of these knives are incredible. They're two of my favorite, especially summertime carry knives. You know, around town, around the house, you know, going into, you know, I do a lot of IT work, so you know, when I'm going into a data center, either one is not going to be very intimidating for customers or coworkers. They're both going to be super effective at a lot of the box wire stripping and stuff like that that we may end up doing. So can't go wrong with either. I just wanted to do a quick comparison for these. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm certainly interested to see, for those of you that have both, what your feedback is. I also want to talk about the fact that I actually got another knife that I forgot I ordered. It's a Para3 lightweight. And I'm thinking once we get to 500 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. So I think you should hit the subscribe button down below. Leave a comment on what you think about that being the first giveaway on Edgy Outdoors. And I guess that's about it. I hope you guys have a great week. We do have another Spyderco, brand new, very exciting Spyderco that's coming out. That'll be here on Friday. I'll probably have the video up Friday or Saturday morning. It is the Spyderco Paisan, and that's one of their, you know, premium knives that they have coming out this year. It's the second. The Drunken was the first one. The Paisan is the second one. Very excited to see how that measures up with the full titanium scales. Should be an exciting knife, so keep on the lookout for that. Thanks again, guys, and keep your edges sharp. Have a good day.